Hey, second graders. Today we are focusing on another reading topic for our reading mini lesson. Our I am learning statement for today is, I am learning to understand how a story leads up to and changes after the climax. So the climax of a story is also known as the high point of a story. And the high point of a story is the most exciting part. So the climax of the story is the most exciting part of the story. So to start out, we're going to look at a story that a lot of you might know. So that story is Cinderella. So what we have right here is a plot diagram that shows exactly where the climax or the high point happens in Cinderella. Another important thing to know about the high point of the story is that it usually means that things are about to change in the story. It usually means that there is a resolution or a solution coming. And we can see that word resolution right down here at the bottom of our slide. So what I love about this diagram is it shows all of the events leading up to the climax of the story of Cinderella. So the first fact that's listed here, the first thing that happens is Cinderella lives with her sisters and their mother. They make her wear rags and do all the hard work. Then, an invitation to the ball arrives. The stepsisters go to the ball. A fairy godmother appears and provides Cinderella with clothes, a coach, and footmen. Cinderella goes to the ball. Cinderella dances with the prince but leaves hurriedly at midnight, losing a slipper. The prince says he will marry the woman whom the slipper fits. So my friends, all of these events were leading up to the high point or the climax of the story. So the exposition is where the story starts, and these were all rising actions, and now we get to the climax. So the climax of the story of Cinderella is the stepsisters try to force their feet into the slipper. It fits Cinderella. So as we know, the story is wrapping up, the problem is getting resolved. So the following action, the next thing that happens is that Cinderella and the prince marry and they live happily ever after. So the climax is the high point or the most exciting part of a story. Let's take a look at some of the high points in stories that we've read together. So as we can see, we have our statement at the beginning. The high point of the story is the exciting part. So we're looking again at the book, The Have a Good Day Cafe. And if you haven't read this story yet, it's all about a family that owns a food cart, and they make the choice to start selling Korean food instead of American food because they are not getting enough customers. So the exciting part or the high point or the climax of this story is that Mike has an idea to make Korean food to sell at the family cart. The next story is The Old Lady Who Names Things, right? And this one was really popular in my class, and we loved learning about this old lady who befriends this adorable little dog. And so the climax for the story, the high point, is when the old woman goes to the dog pound to find the dog that she misses and loves. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at Horace, Morris, but mostly Dolores, which is a silly story about three mice who are best friends. And so in this story, you can see here written in purple, the high point or the climax is when Dolores, the girl mouse, decides that she's going to quit the Cheese Puffs Club and bring a friend to play with Horace and Morris. So she brings a friend from the Cheese Puffs Club to play with Horace and Morris. So let's take a little more of a look at this story, Horace and Morris, but mostly Dolores. So I have the book right here. And as you can see, I have a sticky note. So what I challenged myself to do was to put a sticky note where the climax occurs, where the high point in the story happens, where things start to change and soon a solution will come. So one of the sentences in the story really made me think that this was the climax. At the top it says, Dolores made a different decision. So someone making a decision, making a different decision, making a realization, all of those things can kind of signal us towards knowing that this is the climax or the high point of a story. So my friends, I challenge you today while you're reading, whether it be a book with your teacher or a book on your own, to try to identify the climax in the story. Try to figure out what is the most exciting part, what is the high point of this story, and So hopefully you guys are able to do that while you read, and I will see you guys again soon with another mini lesson. Have a great day.